All right, it's here. I'm ready to unbox my brand new Tom Bihn Synik 30 backpack in the brand new 420D Spectron collection. Let's check it out. All right, as dad and a theme park creator, I heavily depend on a backpack that I need every single day. It needs to be versatile. It needs to get me to work with my work computer, all the things I need to take myself to work, sometimes to the gym. And then also I use the same backpack when I travel, primarily to the theme parks in Orlando. And so this is something that I really researched for years, and I've actually, of course, never used this bag, but I'm a huge fan of Tom Bihn. If you don't know, they are a sort of backpack bags, all types of bags you can use, brand based in Seattle. I believe they started in the early 70s, 1972, I believe. This is not sponsored. I'm just a huge fan of these backpacks and just backpacks in general. I could sort of use a new backpack all the time if given the opportunity, but once I find something that I really like, I stick with it. And so just over 2 years ago now, I did some really deep research and discovered this brand. And I've used a different Tom Bihn Synik 30 backpack that I could talk about soon for ever since then, so almost 3 years now. I really enjoy using that bag and I take it everywhere I go, but I've been looking for something a little different in terms of color, and around the time that I was looking for it, this backpack popped up. And it's kind of good and bad news, I guess you could say, but there's a new fabric called the Spectron 420D that is supposed to be a little more tactile, a little more agile, a little sleeker, and a little lighter, I believe, than the Halcyon, the 400D Halcyon fabric that, because of COVID, is no longer being produced. I'm not gonna pretend to be an expert in all of the manufacturing and fabric goings on when it comes to this brand and this particular model. I just know that's gonna change this one for these purposes. And I'm eager to see how it compares to the one that I've been using before, because it has the older fabric and it is a completely different color. I can compare them soon in a video, but until I do them, let's go ahead and check it out. So I have not opened it. I've had it for several days now. All right, let's see. First look, and that is all that's in the box. So if you're curious, let's see, first look. So it definitely does feel a lot lighter. One thing you'll know, and this is something that is talked about in the, I guess I could say, the backpack community, because there is a active community of people who are obsessed with backpacks, but that is the fact that the Tom Bihn puts their label on it sort of right up in front, and they have this sort of noticeable red airplane on it. A lot of people do not like that. They prefer something sleeker. I'm totally fine with it. I like the logo itself. To me, it's not too distracting, and I like this brand a lot, so I'm fine sporting it. I will say, while I'm talking about this brand, it is sort of divisive within the backpack fan community, because as some have said, they phrase it as this company values form over function, in that function over form, rather, in that, you know, as I'll show you, it's all about practicality. It's all about being able to use it and it lasting and it being durable, right? And so some claim that it's at the expense of how it looks. I don't know if it's just because I'm a dad, but I like how this looks. When it's fully populated, it kind of gives off sort of a oval type shape and it kind of bulges. Some people do not like that. They prefer it's more of a square shape. I don't like the way a square rectangular backpack feels on my back. Anyway, so to look at the exterior straight out of the box, it does feel lighter than my other Tom Bihn brand. And like I mentioned, I know I'm throwing out a lot of terms here for the uninitiated, but this is the Synik 30. And the Synik 30 is based off of a different model years ago that was called the Synapse, I believe. And this sort of stemmed from that popularity, and this was the eventual model, and this is the 30, meaning it's the 30 liter. So there is a Synik 25 or 26, I believe, but as I mentioned, I am a dad and I work full time, of course, and I go to the theme parks a lot when I travel, or when I'm traveling with my children outside of the theme parks. I need a bag that is going to get me through every day and get me through those days. And this is not a full review, but in me showing you this unboxing, you will find out why I do like this brand. So before I open it up, we will see that it has sternum straps right here, which is always helpful if you have a lot. I tend to use that more usually when I'm going to the airport or when I have my shoes and stuff for the gym in there. Another strap here around the waist, again, very helpful for your back and for when you're traveling. This is really key. I feel like some people don't care as much about this, but there is a way for you to slide this over your luggage. There's probably a more eloquent way of putting that, and I'm not thinking about it right now, but you can slide it goes all the way through right here, put it around the top of your luggage, and you're able to go to the airport pretty seamlessly. So With me, I have 3 little ones, so sometimes my backpack gets a little too heavy and I need to put it on my luggage to carry one of them or make any sort of adjustments. It's great just to be able to slide that over pretty quickly. So for me, that's non-negotiable when it comes to a backpack these days. I have to have some sort of compatibility with my luggage. You see a little more subtle branding there. It's just a T and a B right there. I'm not sure if that's popping up right, but there is some breathability here in the back. If you could look closely, backpack sweat has been an enemy of mine since I was in college years ago. And so I feel like having some sort of mesh and breathability and padding. This feels pretty similar to the other Synik 30 that I have. Again, I want to bring that up a few times because I am wanting to compare it because I do, you know, I'm not gonna say I have concerns, but I wanna make sure it's up to par because there has been a change in fabric. More padding for your lower back here. This is perfect too. I don't feel a lot of sweat buildup when I wear this backpack, so if that's a concern for you, I think that's important. You will see there is a lower zipper right here. And again, like I said, this is not a full review, but maybe getting some sort of insight why I like this bag as I show you. There is this huge pocket right here. And it is good sized. And this is sort of where I keep a lot of my electronics. So extra chargers, wall ports, you know, things of that type of nature. I will put them in here. Also a smaller umbrella for in case it rains at work. There are no side water bottle pockets or spaces to put an umbrella. And that may seem kind of like not a great thing, but I have gotten used to that type of backpack and I will show you why. But this is sort of those extra things, mostly in the electronic department, that I can grab and go really quickly. One thing you'll notice is really cool, these are sort of a Tom Bihn thing, is that it comes built in with these things called O-rings. And there's several of them through this pocket. If I pull this up, see right there? It's not the best view, but see there's 3 or 4 of them. And so you can get straps from the company or probably elsewhere and connect them to other bags. Keychains, I think a strap comes in one of these that I'll show you, but I have another smaller Tom Bihn bag where I throw in all of my, I forgot what it's called, I throw in all my like loose pieces of chargers and things, and I shove that bag in here, tie it to the, clip it to the O-ring, because it itself has an O-ring, and then I'm able to quickly grab that. So you can quickly get lost in the Tom Bihn accessory department, which obviously I enjoy. So there's another interesting thing about this bag is these 2 side pockets. They're really large, more O-rings right here. And this is more of your traditional pockets to put your pens, good sized. I'm liking the feel. It feels, for those who really care, it feels like it's rippling a little easier and not really folding. Like there definitely is a lighter feel to this new material that it's hard to explain. Maybe a little bit more papery. One thing about these bags are not the cheapest. I believe this was just under $400, $370 maybe. And I paid around the same for the other bag of the other fabric that I got a few years ago. And they're known for, I don't know if the word is luxury, but you know, they're made in the United States where they cost a little bit more because of manufacturing costs. And they're known for being durable and for being higher quality. So in my opinion, you get what you pay for. My other bag has not a scratch, stain, anything on it. And like I said, I have kids and it goes a lot of places, so it's withstood that. This one, it's not as if it feels, I don't know if papery is the right word, but it definitely feels a little lighter. That could be a good or a bad thing. Anyway, so good pockets here. So you'll notice on the other side is a similar pocket. So it's the same size. There's going to be more O-rings in here. And here's what's cool. Some more straps that you could use for your backpack. This one is the one, more right here. This one comes with the strap. And you could buy these on their website as well separately if you need more, and I have done so. But you can use this clip right here for your keys. And so if I'm traveling, put the keys on there. Easy to find, easy to grab, easy to locate. I really appreciate that. So like I said, this one comes with the strap, has a similar depth and size as this one, but then there's just one extra pocket here for more things instead of like for pens maybe, smaller journal, smaller notepad. So yeah, so what you'll notice there's less pockets on the interior and they sort of front load, so to speak, sort of where you put the smaller things, like I said, like pens, papers, other types of accessories that'll fit. They're kind of going to go in these front compartments and zippers, as opposed to in the main thing, the main compartment, which I will show you. So 2 things that are very important. This top one, sorry, I'll start here instead. This is a pretty small, pretty shallow. You got the O-rings right here. This one only goes so far. What I like about this one is this is the grab and go. This is the keys on a regular day if you're not storing them away for travel. This is the AirPods, this is the Post-its, this is the pen that I'm actually using that day, the small things my kids hand me before I go out the door. All of that is right here. Smaller snacks too, like a bar or something if I'm going to the gym. I appreciate that pocket. And then this right here is one of the main reasons I like this bag. Hear me out. Recall that earlier I mentioned there's no side pockets for umbrellas or for water bottles, right? What I like about this is actually where your water bottle goes. So this huge vat, and yes, I have spilled water before and it has not seeped through. This is sort of leaking, for lack of a better word, into a review. This is supposed to be an unboxing. But you have this huge space right here, and it sort of helps with your back actually, because the water bottle's not on one side sort of pulling you down in terms of weight distribution. It's right in the center. And what you may be gathering is that with all that stuff here, it does tend to bulge. Again, in a separate follow-up video, I think I'm gonna do a further review of me wearing it and using it day to day. But you know, it's just something to consider when looking at this bag. All right, so moving on. By the way, that is one of the biggest things that I was on the fence about, and it's actually what sold me eventually. And when I looked at other bags now, I use a 32-ounce Nalgene, and I have other water bottles that I'll buy, and I always come back to my Nalgene, also not sponsored, and it fits and slides perfectly in there, and I've had no issues with that. And trying to fit that literally with other backpacks, even if the side is big enough, I just find it a little bit uncomfortable. If you use a smaller water bottle or a water bottle of a different sort of shape, you may not have those same considerations. Anyway, one thing that's also important is they have these really nice, I think they're YKK zippers with a little bit of Tom Bihn TB branding on them. I'm not sure if you could see that. It's really tiny, really good sturdy zippers. They feel just the same as the other bag I have. And I will say one thing that is cool is this is a clamshell opening. So that means it goes all the way down the sides and the bag splits in half. And I have the tendency to make the joke a reference to Scary Movie 3 when they're talking about a reference to the movie Signs and they talk about something splitting in half like a taco or a hot dog. I might cut that in post. Anyway, so there's not much in here. There's a lot of space in here, but what you'll notice is this is great for traveling. You've got this one big storage case. It goes pretty far in there, so it's not necessarily the best for very loose items, maybe folders, journals, things you can grab quickly. You may find yourself fishing for things down there, just FYI. I don't really use the clamshell unless I'm actually traveling because it's not really easy every day to pull your backpack this far across, but it is fantastic when you are going on a trip. Whether it's a weekend trip or a few days, this bag does have the capacity. Again, it's 30 liters. But yeah, that's what the inside looks like. You got that grid pattern that Tom Bihn is famous for on their interiors. Again, this is, I feel like the sound is giving a lot of context if you're a backpack person who's used Tom Bihn before. It sounds a little different than, it's a little thinner, maybe that's what I'm looking for, than the previous fabric. And that's okay. Yeah, I kind of expected it based on their description. I actually pre-ordered this, so this just came in. And yeah, so over here, they have some helpful straps for when you are traveling, if you want to use packing cubes. And my wife's always trying to get me to use packing cubes more. I feel like that requires a level of time and organization that I just don't have at the moment. But even if you put your clothes loose leaf in here, you can strap them in so they're tighter when you're traveling. And then there is a zipper here to a back compartment. You'll see that grid pattern right there. It zips all the way across. This is ostensibly for a backpack, and it's kind of interesting because it's in this back area, but it's also kind of separate, and it kind of suspends in a way. So I'm not giving you the best view of it because of this angle, but it doesn't touch all the way to the bottom of the backpack. And so what that means is when you put your backpack in there or iPad, it's not gonna slam against the ground whenever you put this on the ground. It's very helpful when you're coming in the door and your kids are greeting you or your dog is greeting you or you're in a hurry at work or getting on the bus or you're going to the gym. Just some things to consider. But I will say there also is a side compartment right here, and this gets to that same compartment that I was just talking about. See, I'm putting my hand in and it comes out there if you need more visual representation. I have, I think, a 15-inch backpack, 15-inch laptop for work, and I usually will slide it in here. I feel like that's a little easier to access than this one for whatever reason. I feel like sometimes I'll have to do this to really get the full scope of the space required for such a size of a laptop. And on a normal busy day, commuting to work, trying to get out the door, it's not, flipping it, I don't really have the time to do that. But it fits the backpack in here. So yeah, that's it. That's the unboxing. Like I said, this kind of veered into a mini review because you can get an idea of how I use this backpack, or its, you know, its elder sibling, my existing Synik 30. But so far, this looks really great. I am a huge backpack aficionado, and this Tom Bihn brand so far has served me well. It's attractive in my opinion, it is durable, it's flexible, and most importantly, it's practical. When you become a dad, you know, and reach a certain age, that's what you're looking for, those types of things. And so it's kind of easy to pick something that is so functional despite what others may think about its appearance. So yeah, that's it. I'm gonna take this baby out on the road, so to speak, and start entering it into my daily, everyday carry use. And I'm going to film a video of myself using it, whether it be traveling or parenting or going to work or all the above, and give it a full review with a little more in-depth specs. But as of right now, I'm liking it. It does feel lighter. I like this sleek black color. I like that there's a grid pattern if you can look closely there, but it's not too distracting. I was looking for something darker in color, but that grid gives it a little bit of flair that I like, and I like the red from the badge, the logo. And yeah, I'm ready for this one to get on the road. If you have any questions about this backpack or other Tom Bihn products, if you want to know more details about it, more specs, if you want a full review, let me know what you want to see in it. And thanks for watching. Please consider subscribing.